Hello, fellow sim racers. I am back with another track guide. This week we are at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, which is a free track on iRacing, which was refreshed a couple of years ago. So that's a bonus. I'm back in the Ferrari, and as always, you can download my setup, my ghost car, and my replay file from funningspeed.com/track guides. And if you really want to delve into the data, don't forget that YouTube channel members can get access to my virtual racing school team, which means you can see all the telemetry from every lap that I do on iRacing. And you can also compare your own telemetry to mine in a web browser. The virtual racing school software is completely free to download. All you need is the YouTube membership. So if you're interested, click that join button and have a look at all the perks there. All right, guys. Well, look, best of luck this week. I hope you do really well. And if I don't see you before, hopefully I'll see you on the track. Cheers. Okay, guys, here I go with my breakdown of my 1 minute 45.171 here at VIR in the Ferrari. Don't forget you can download my setup, my ghost car, and my replay file from funningspeed.com/track guides. So we're coming down to turn one. And just before we do this, actually, it's worth pointing out that these are the weather conditions for the week. We've got race fuel, everything that says it should be. And if you want to practice against the exact same conditions as me, you can do that. Channel members can do that with the virtual racing school team. So we've just passed the 3 board on the left hand side, and just after it we're going to start braking as we're about to hit the 2 board. So between the 3 and the 2, and we're going to brake very heavily, keeping the car positioned over to the left hand side for now, and we want to end up in 2nd gear. And you'll notice that by the arrow here I start to turn in. We're kind of taking quite a shallow approach here, and that's quite normal for corners that are this tight and long. We need to be tight to the inside because the corner actually continues and then tightens, so we need to be tight to the inside on exit, otherwise we're going to have to do some really heavy lifting with the steering wheel, and that's going to cause us problems with acceleration. So we're really bleeding out of the brakes now. We're out of the brake and into the gas just on the end of the curb here, and we actually build up relatively gently as we unravel the wheel. And look, we've ended up nice and tight on the inside here. Notice how the track tightens. So if we're too far away from the inside of the track, we're actually going to have problems here. We've got to be careful with the steering angle under this amount of acceleration. But we're going to actually take the car out to the right ever so slightly here, because this left-hander coming up is deceptively tricky. What we're going to do is we're going to drop out of the accelerator just as we're passing the second half of this curb here on the left, and we're going to gradually build up the brake, very gradually. So we're gradually out of the gas, gradually into the brake, and then we're gradually out of the brake and gradually back into the gas just as we're hitting this curb here. And that's really designed to keep the car stable. It's very easy to lose the back end. It's very easy to oversteer. So gentle inputs there are really going to help smooth things out, keep your speed up, and make sure that the car is nice and stable. So after the end of the curb in here, we're straight into the brakes on the right hand side, down to second, and we really want to sacrifice this exit to open up this next part, which is actually really quite tricky in the GT3s. So we've ended up coming out close to the left. That's important here. And then we're going to drop out of the gas again. We actually short shifted to third, which I think is a pretty good idea here. But notice how we're really going to modulate the accelerator to make sure that we don't run out of track here, which is very, very easy to do, especially in traffic. So we're in and out of the gas just to make sure we make these curbs, and then we're up through the gears, straight lining this section as much as we can. This is a very, very long flat out section, so the sooner you can get on the gas and hold it down coming out of that little complex, the better. But don't underestimate it. It's tough. So we're going to ride these curbs. We're keeping the car as straight as we can, just so as we can build up as much pace as possible. But then on this last corner, we want to keep it tight, because as we brow the hill, just as we brow it, we're going to brake, we're going to drop a gear, and then really trail it in here, and then back on the gas on the curb, maintaining as much speed as we can without making the car unstable. And then as we pass the 3 board here, approaching the 2, you can see there's this little kind of dark patch on the track. That's what I'm using as my braking marker. And we're going to brake initially like tight to the left, but then we're going to point the car into the inside somewhat. And we're going to come down to third first of all. So down to fourth, down to third, then we're holding. Notice how we've bled out the brakes a good bit. And we're tight to the inside here, but we're pointing out to the outside. We're about to come down to second. We need to do a little bit more braking again. And then we're out of the brake. We're coming tight to the inside curb, and we started building up the gas before we reach that curb. Now, the important thing here is there's a good chance you're going to end up riding a bit of this curb. It's quite a steep curb. If you're flat out on the gas when you mount it, you're going to have a bad time. So just make sure. I waited until the car landed before I went full throttle there, and that's really going to help with traction. It's going to help keep the car nice and stable. So we're going to go past the old pits, and we're gunning up through the gears. We need to keep the car straight as we can, and that's going to take us over to the right. Just be wary though when you're with traffic that this right hand line wobbles around quite a lot, so it's easy to end up dipping on the grass. And then after we brow this hill, we've got some boards that are going to appear on the right. Got some alternate layout stuff here as well. And as we hit the second board, notice how I just started to tip the wheel into the left slightly there. We're going to start our braking pretty heavily at first. We're going to come out of the brake a little. We're going up a hill. That's helping slow the car. We're about to hit third, and then we've exited quite far on the left. We're in third gear. We're still holding about 60% of brake, but this is the point we really need to start dropping out. So I've come down to second. We're coming out of the brakes now, and we're nice and tight to this inside curb, which we're riding a little, and we're building up the gas very, very steadily as we take it. And then we've got plenty of room to take this left-hand curb. One of the things I see quite a lot here is that people end up going quite deep on this corner, and that leaves you nowhere to go for this left-hander coming up. So the tighter you can get on the right here, the more open the left-hander is, the more aggressive you can be on the accelerator, the more speed you can carry. So that's quite important around this sector. But you may need to drop out of the gas just the tiniest bit here because the car can get very loose. So approaching the last corners. Now these are the real, this is the real test here. We're very far out on the right. We're taking this curb, and then we're going to push the car into the left towards the left-hand curb and come out of the accelerator. We want to take some of this curb. We're very far over to the left here. We're out of the gas. When the car lands now, we need to brake. So the car's landed, we're braking. We've come down to third. We're bleeding out of the brakes as we turn into this right-hand curb, and then very carefully building up the accelerator, making sure that we don't push too far left, because it's super easy to run out of track on the left here. So you want to make sure you get tight to that last inside curb. But really it's about balance there. It's about using the weight distribution in the car to push you down into the track right when you want to take that final right hand corner. It's worth watching that back on the replay a couple of times. It's a tricky corner. I didn't get it perfect there, actually. I dropped a 10th on that final section. I think I could have done a 44.9 or at least a 45 flat. But look, good luck here this week, folks. I hope you do really well. Let us know how you're getting on in the comments below. And for those of you that have stayed to the end, thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you're interested in seeing my lap telemetry, comparing your laps to mine, check out the perks for channel membership by clicking the join button just below and seeing whether that's something that might work for you. Drop me a message on Discord, findingspeed.in/Discord, if you've got any questions. Best of luck this week, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.